What is up, guys? Oh, I got something in my eye up. 2 seconds in. What is up, guys? Happy Thursday. Coming to you live today. Feeling kind of fired up. I'm gonna kind of keep it calm. My last video was a little, little hyped up, but excited to be coming back to you guys live on YouTube. Sorry it's been so slow. The last couple weeks I've been swamped like you guys wouldn't believe, having all sorts of technical difficulties in figuring out the internet and all this kind of good stuff. So having fun with that and struggling with that, and a lot of big stuff in the works, guys. I'm talking to a couple schools, a couple big companies, and we're gonna be launching some big stuff. I can't talk about just yet, but big stuff happening, working on it for you guys. Hey there, hello. What is up, guys? I really like, it's nice being live because I like interacting with students. I love it. So it's nice to be on these live feeds. But anyway, so today I asked the question, how did average become the new normal? I don't understand it. I don't understand when we stopped being a society of strivers and started being a society of settlers. And nowhere is this more problematic and more kind of pervasive than in the minority pre-med community and in the disadvantaged pre-med community. And as you guys know, there's a bunch of outreach programs out there that are looking to bring up these disadvantaged, these underrepresented students and help them pave a way to medical school. And there's a lot of these programs. I participated in these programs when I was coming up. But one of the big problems I have with these programs is that they kind of push this message of acceptance and this message of I'm disadvantaged, I'm underrepresented, I shouldn't have super high expectations of myself because I'll only set myself up for a letdown. So instead what I should do is set modest expectations for myself, set modest goals, that way I have a chance at meeting those and being successful in my own way. And I feel like it's hugely problematic in that community, but as a global whole, man, the freaking lack of striving is killing me. And one of my mentees, and it's funny, I love it because people are getting what I'm saying. And the students I work with know exactly what I'm about, know me, and know what I'm gonna say. And I was doing a personal statement with one of my mentees the other week, and they intentionally deleted a paragraph because they knew I was going to hate it. And they're like, there was a paragraph there, and I deleted it because I knew you were going to hate it, but I sent it to everybody else, but I knew you were going to hate it specifically. And she knew exactly why I was going to hate it because it was talking so negatively about herself. And I said, forget all that, believe in yourself, be confident in yourself, and you tell them how amazing you are and why you should be in medical school, and not, oh, maybe you should take me, maybe you shouldn't, and I know I'm flawed in certain ways. No. I'm a specimen of perfection. You need me in your medical school. But anyway, so one of my other mentees sent me an article today written by this guy, medical student, trying to do the right thing, trying to do outreach, whatever. And if you guys saw my Instagram post, I posted kind of 2 clips from that. And the 2 things I highlighted were, first of all, he went through and described his studying for step 1, which is essentially the MCAT for residency. So the MCAT helps get you into medical school. The step 1 helps get you into residency. And it's the test you take after your first 2 years of medical school. And this guy was saying how he studied super hard, was taking practice tests and scoring well on his practice tests, and then he got his final score back and he got literally 222, which is actually below the median now on step 1. So it's like 45th percentile, 40th percentile. And he said that, and then he said after it, I was shocked. But in that moment, I made my mind up to not let a test define me. And I wasn't going to dwell on it any longer and look for why it happened. And I was going to accept me for me because the test doesn't define who I am. And that's some of the stupidest stuff you're ever going to hear. And people say this all the time. Oh, you know what? The MCAT doesn't determine, how good of a student I am. The MCAT shouldn't be the major determinant for if I get into medical school or not. So it doesn't matter that I can't do well on the MCAT. Or the MCAT is biased and it's only one small part of who I am, so it shouldn't matter. And all these excuses that people make up for themselves, right? For their average test performance. And what I want to tell you guys is there's a couple faults with this. The first one is, if you get a test score back, right, you take a test and you get a B or a C or a D, whatever it might be, and it's not an A, you should never be like, oh, I got a C, it's all good, tests don't define me, because actually tests do define you. If you want to get to medical school, you need A's. If you want to get to medical school, you need MCAT scores that are compatible with medical school life. So to say a test does not define you is incorrect, because it may not define you as a person, who you are as a human. You may be a great human being, but if you're a poor test taker, medical schools don't care. And you can say that I'm wrong, but I'm 100% right, because the first criteria that medical schools look at, right? You hear all these things about holistic application review. That only happens, right? They only review your entire application after they see that your GPA and MCAT is sufficient to survive medical school. It's just them covering their backs because they don't want you to flunk out 2 weeks in. And so you will be evaluated on your GPA and on your MCAT first. So in your own mind and in your own life, yes, test scores don't define you. But for medical school purposes, they absolutely do define you as either someone who can hang in medical school or someone who can't. So yes, your test scores define you. With that being said, you should never feel hopeless about a bad test score. Instead, what you should do is what he wrote that he wasn't going to do, which is, I wasn't going to dwell on why it happened because there was no benefit in that. That's horrible advice. If you get a bad score on a test, you immediately need to figure out, okay, what happened, what went wrong, what was my fault in this scenario? A lot of people, right, a lot of students, what do you guys like to do? Oh, you know what? I couldn't have done well because the teacher, right, they wrote this test, and this test was hard. It was too hard, and everybody failed, and so that's a problem. Well, yes, it's a problem, but you should never be unprepared for a test. Furthermore, if a test is truly, and this happens sometimes, a test is completely unfair. If it's unfair for you, it's unfair for everybody. So then why did you end up at the bottom of the curve? Do you see what I'm saying? There's always a reason why it's your fault that you didn't perform well on a test. And what you need to do if you want to be a super student, if you want to get beyond being defined as a C student because you got a C on an exam, you need to figure out what the gap is that's keeping you from getting that higher score, address it, attack it, analyze it, and then go to work fixing it. So to say, oh, I got bad grade on a test, I'm just going to ignore it and keep cruising along thinking I'm great, that's terrible advice. It's terrible advice. Self-responsibility, you just said it, I just caught that mess right there. Self-responsibility is crucial. 100%. You've got to take responsibility because that's the only things you control in life, right? Or the things that are your fault. You can't change other people, you change yourself. So you've got to always assess, and one of the ways, I'm an excellent test taker, guys, right? I'm an excellent studier, I'm an excellent test taker. I'm excellent at a lot of things. I'm bad at a lot of things too. But the things that I'm excellent at, the things that I'm great at, things that I've excelled at, things that I've improved upon, the things that I'm good at is because I improved, and it's because I actually focused on everything I was doing wrong. It's so easy to go through things focusing on what you did right and patting yourself on the back. Oh yeah, I studied an hour today. Oh my gosh, it was so great. Well, if you knew you needed to study for 2 hours and you didn't get those 2 hours, don't pat yourself on the back for getting 1 hour. Say, yeah, that's great, I did 1 hour, but what's stopping me from getting 2 hours? Oh, you know what? I didn't sleep enough last night. Oh, you know what? I didn't have the notes I needed to be able to study for that other class, so all I could do was study for this one class. Oh, those are all barriers, right? So the way you get excellent at something, because no one is born smart, no one is a great test taker from day one. I'm an excellent test taker because every test I got back in college, I analyzed every single piece of it. Even the questions I got right, I said, okay, wait, what went right in my studying that made me get that question right? Why did I know that question was gonna be on there? Okay, how did I get that answer when I didn't know the answer starting out? How did I problem solve my way there? How can I replicate this and do this more on my future test to continue to improve my score? When I miss something, okay, I missed it, dang it. Was it because I didn't have the knowledge? Was it because I misread the question? Was it because I misread the answers? Was it because I was misled by the answer because it sounded familiar and it actually wasn't the correct answer? So did the teacher intentionally mislead me, knowing that I knew this material at a superficial level and not deep enough to see past a superficial tip-off pushing me in the wrong direction? So that's what I'm talking about, guys. And that's why that article pissed me off, because it was written for whatever blog it was, and then it was sent out by like SNMA, AMA, and all these people like, oh, look up to this medical student who's not letting a test define them. Yes, a test doesn't define you. But remember, it actually does define you, because in medical school's eyes, that's who you are. And if you want to be perceived as competitive in their eyes, you got to improve and look for reasons why it happened. You can't ignore your mistakes. It's just not sound advice. And I mentioned in my Instagram post, we're going to talk about status quo. So the first we just kind of talked about, right? Your status quo of who you are as a test taker, as a studier, and as a student, right? So identifying what your problems are and changing the status quo, understanding that that's not who you have to be. All right? Does that make sense to everybody? If that makes sense to you, give me a like right now, give me a comment, say, hey, I got it, it makes sense right now in this moment. And then we're gonna go on to point 2 of status quo accepting on something that literally, this is live action, just happened yesterday to me in my program. And for you guys, this is interesting because I get a lot of flack for talking about money and finances on my channel. And you guys are young people, a lot of you, and you don't recognize the importance of money. Once you have a family, you got responsibilities, you got bills, you'll understand the importance of money. Furthermore, the reason you know that money is important is because when people ask you that question, oh, if you had $1 million, what would you do with your life? And 9 times out of 10, people always say it's never the thing they're currently doing. They would be like an artist, right? They'd be a writer, they'd be doing all these things. But the problem is those things don't pay well, right? And they're thinking about finances, so they choose something totally different. They choose to spend 2/3 of their life doing something that they wouldn't do if it wasn't for the money. So to say money is not important is a fallacy. And so what just happened that was very poignant to this topic is at UCSD, we opened a new hospital. So now we have a whole new hospital that's ginormous, right? And it's enormous. And so our capacity has gone through the roof, but we don't have more residents. And so because of that, we're being stretched to really pull a lot of, so right now I'm on my dinner break. I'm not even off work yet, I'm at my dinner break, but we're being really, really pulled in a lot of directions. And so we were having this meeting yesterday and talking about resident life and like duty hours and all those kind of things. And I don't know if you guys know this, but they just rolled back their ruling because for the past couple of years, interns weren't allowed to do over 24 hours, and there were certain duty hour limits, which means you couldn't work over a certain amount of hours. Well, they did this study that looked at, does having residents work really long hours, more than 24-hour shifts, more than a certain amount of hours a week, does that affect patient safety? And the answer was no, of course, because right, we're caring people as physicians, we're not gonna let somebody die. But what they didn't look at the study, which is more important, is how working long hours affects resident well-being. Because I can tell you, I work long hours, guys, I work over 25 hours, I work long hours, and it is awful for well-being, right? I don't exercise, I'm freaking tired all the time, and constantly, look at these bags under my eyes. I normally have real tight skin right here, it looks real good, right? I look crazy, look at this beard. You guys see me, I got beards all the time because I don't have time to shave. It's crazy. And so they didn't look at that in the study, and the reason they didn't look at resident well-being and resident wellness and how it really affects doctors, the reason they didn't look at that is because they knew it was going to come out bad, and that resident wellness doesn't affect the bottom line dollars. What does is patient safety, because they get paid on patient safety. They don't get paid on how the residents feel. Additionally, the reason it's really important not to have resident work limit hours is because residents are free labor for the hospital. When you look at perfect examples in the ICU, a lot of an ICU physician or an ICU nurse practitioner, you have to pay them, and you have to pay them well. Whereas if you can get a resident to go work that ICU shift or a resident to go cover a shift, that's nothing. So how this plays out is in a hospital on holidays, most of the people working are residents. Why? Because you'd have to pay overtime or double time to nurse practitioners, to CRNAs, to physicians to work those holidays. But for residents, you don't pay us anything. In fact, it deducts from our salary, right? So I'm actually making less by working on these holidays. And so it's all dollar driven. So the reason residencies are the way they are is for dollars. It's not for learning. And you guys know the practical equivalent of this is, imagine, right, for people out there who have to work and go to school, right? You work full time, you go to school. Does having limited time to sit down and study and reflect on the material help or hurt your learning? It hurts, of course, right? Because you're so caught up in your work and all those other things. It's the same way with residency. We're doing paperwork, we're doing all these things that are not educational, but it's part of our work duties that take away from what we could be doing, which is studying books, studying patients, and all these things. So it's crazy to me that money drives that. But so anyway, so we had this meeting yesterday and we were talking about this, and to listen to some of the residents talk about how, you know what, if you didn't want to work hard, you shouldn't have gone into medicine. if you don't want to work long hours, you shouldn't have gone to medicine. 'Cause that's just what medicine is. That's how it's always been. It was harder before. And it's this backward way of thinking that has medicine being such a terrible field to be in at times. And it's why physicians have double, triple the suicide rates as other professions. Why? Because they burn us out. They work us to death. It's too hard for no reason. For no reason at all. And the reason it has never changed is because physicians don't stick their head out and don't say, hey, this is not right. This is not acceptable. And it was so crazy last night because no one wants to challenge the status quo. Everyone just wants to, it is what it is. We'll just keep going. Decades ago, there were no duty hour limits, and those people survived. If they can survive that, working 120 hours in the hospital, we can survive our 80, 90-hour work weeks. And it's such backwards thinking. It's the same thing with healthcare, and I won't even get into that discussion tonight, but healthcare insurance, it's the same exact reason why physicians are getting screwed in terms of insurance, is because physicians didn't care enough to challenge the status quo and what was being put out there and accepted. And so I encourage you guys to challenge yourself internally with your own status quo and how you do things and how you are and how good you are, and challenge yourself to be better. Additionally, I encourage you to challenge things around you. If you see there's a climate or something happening in your community that you don't like, be an activist. You don't have to have any special powers to be an activist, but you have to speak your own mind and not be scared of repercussions from other people, to say what you feel. You know what I mean? People say that I'm real and I'm wrong here. I'm real and I'm wrong here because I honestly just want to give you guys the truth. Why should I have to dumb it down or say something that's not accurate? Why can't I just give you guys the real? Some of you guys are not going to get to medical school. Fact. Most of you guys won't get to medical school. Fact. However, every single person watching this broadcast right now could get to medical school, but you won't. And why won't you? Because you won't put in the work required to challenge your own status quo and get yourself better. You'll be a settler. You'll be saying that, oh, I'm average and that's normal. And your ass won't be in medical school. And you'll wonder why. What happened? You've got to raise yourself up and seek to be excellent. You don't have to be excellent today. You don't have to be amazing. You don't have to be an A student today. But are you striving to become an A student? If you're not, you're slipping and you're limiting yourself with these false, I just want to get by beliefs, guys. Strive for greatness and excellence and get past the status quo. And just to leave you guys, right? So I'll answer some questions in a second, but I want to tell you guys this because this was interesting. So I released my MCAT course last month. I was super excited about it. It ended up being like really, really good. So I told you I'm technologically challenged. So I filmed this course. I was in the editing phases, and then I deleted half the course. Idiot. At that time, the course was like 4 hours long. So then I was thinking about it. I was like, you know what? I'm looking at some of my slides. I'm like, you know what? This could be better. This could be better. This could be better. And so I redid like maybe 60% of the course, and the course ended up being almost 8 hours. And I went in on these things that I was kind of more superficial than I felt I could have been. So I went deeper into topics. And the response from this course so far has been amazing, where people are telling me I'm really, really, really making a difference in their ability to do well in the MCAT. And I got my first actual review on the website where someone actually posted it and made it public. And I was really excited about it because the review was so spot on with everything that I'm trying to instill in you guys, that it's not about just doing well in the MCAT. It's about absolutely crushing the MCAT. It's about crushing your school. It's about crushing the competition of getting into medical school. And this person wrote on their thing, they basically said, I was hesitant about buying this course. I didn't know if Dr. Pinesett was full of crap or whatever. And they said, I took this course after having taken courses from the big prep companies, taking their classes and not doing well in my MCAT. I took this course, and now not only am I confident that I'm going to do well and that I'm going to dominate, I actually feel like I'm setting a funeral date for the MCAT because I'm going to kill it. And I was like, ooh, yes, you got it. You got it. You got it. And I'm so proud that people are getting what I'm talking about. It's not about settling. It's about domination, about destroying everything you touch and being amazing and on point 100,000%. So I'm so excited that people are getting that. And this is a student I never even talked to. She just took my course. But I've brainwashed her. She's ready to go out there and challenge everything. And so I'm so excited about that. I just saw a question here. How much is the course? This is the beauty of it, guys. So I made this course because you guys emailed me and you said, listen, I don't have money for expensive prep class. I don't have money to do all this stuff. Can you do something cheap? I said, yeah, here you go. $99 for this MCAT course, guys. And it's the freaking biz. I'm so excited about it. So it's amazing. 99 bucks and you can dominate the MCAT like this girl was saying. So I'm excited about it. But anyway, so I'll answer a couple of you guys' questions. Then I gotta go back to work and actually do my job. Let's see. So who's got the first question? So Anas, this is actually live. You are seeing my face right here. Yes. What can I say the difference between PA school and med school as far as difficulty? PA school is very hard, just like medical school is hard. People think, oh, I'm going to PA school, it's easier. It's not. Because PA school, right, a lot of people like it is because it's shorter. And that absolutely makes sense, right? So PA school, it's shorter, great, do it. But when you think about that, you're shrinking down this medical knowledge time you have to learn. So now instead of having 4 years to learn all this stuff, you've got 2 years. You've got 18 months, some of these programs, PA programs, 18 months. So now you've really got to, they're pouring it in like a fire hose even more. So you've got to be on top of your stuff, got to be on your game. So PA school is definitely hard. And what makes it hard is the shrunk down time course. How long is the course available? So if you buy the MCAT course, you got access to it for life. Because with all my courses, guys, the way I design things is I want you guys to get maximum benefit. And I stress hard work, right? So the best time to start working on the MCAT is not right before the MCAT. It's 4 years out, 6 years out, 8 years out. That way you can have a comprehensive plan for getting your knowledge up so you can dominate the test. All right? So yes, you get lifetime access to that MCAT course. We'll do one more question because I've been on for 22 minutes and my whole break is only 30 minutes. And before I did this, I grabbed a coffee. So I know I'm late going back. So I'm going to answer one more question, then I'm out of here. But I will be going live again, actually. Do you guys want to go live tonight? I can go live tonight if you guys want to go live tonight after I get off my shift. We'll figure this out. But yeah, so anyway, we'll go live tomorrow. How about that? So I will go live tomorrow when I get off work. But let's see, one more question here. Okay, let's see. Just don't overdo it. Once I'm a little over. So this is a good question. So Flight Nurse Almost MD said, to be fair, the average is around 230 for mid-tier programs. So doesn't that mean that half their residents score below? That's 100% true, right? And not everyone's a 260 score was the other comment you made. Totally fine. I'm totally fine with that. Totally fine. But if you score below average on a test, you should never say, oh, you know what, a test doesn't define me. I'm not going to look into why I scored below average. And that's what this blog post was saying, was that I'm not going to look into why I scored 222. And I didn't live up to my practice test score of 240. So if your practice tests are 240 and your MCAT test day score is 222, your step one test day score is 222, then the problem might be you have test anxiety. Or the problem might be that you weren't testing yourself in a real live test environment on your practice tests. Those are easy things to improve upon. But if you don't even try to challenge yourself, you can't get better. You will not get the score you want to get on future tests. So you set yourself up for failure on step 2, on step 3, on your medical board exams. So it's not okay to say, oh, you know, I got 222 on this test. It's average. Man, there's always another test to be had. All right. So I'm not going to get to the rest of these questions tonight, but so this is a problem that I have, and that's why I want to start doing the webinar Q&As, is that when you guys ask me questions on here on the live feed, I actually cannot see these questions after I exit out of this video. And so you guys have really good questions, and I know you want answers. Please, after we get off these live streams, send me an email with your question and I'll try to address them in future streams and future videos, or even just respond to your email directly back. So my email address is andre@premedproductivity.com. Please take a second, do it. You might get your question answered and get an answer to your question, so do that. If you guys want to check out some of my courses, check them out. It's premedproductivity.com, guys. They're amazing. Amazing. Don't be fooled. My $99 MCAT course is not $99 worth. It's thousands of dollars worth. It's beyond amazing. But I'm bringing you guys a resource that you guys can afford and get at. So check it out, premedproductivity.com, and I'll be coming live tomorrow on YouTube, tomorrow, like 5, 6-ish p.m. Tell a friend, get them on here, guys. Let's build up this community. Let's get it going. All right, so have a great evening. I'm definitely late for work now. You guys are gonna get me fired. I'm gonna get fired. I'm challenging the status quo of what an acceptable break time is, all right? So, all right, guys, have a great evening. Thank you guys very much. And like I said, challenge the status quo, be your best, get there, guys. Strive to get even a little bit better every single day so you can be great. Thanks, bye.